very habitable man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Trump just announcing that our own Pete Hegseth will be his Secretary of Defense. Pete, of course, has been a host here at Fox for a number of years. He's an Army veteran where he served in Afghanistan, in Iraq. Trump saying, quote, Pete has spent his entire life as a warrior for the troops and for the country. He's tough, smart, and a true believer in America first. With Pete at the helm, America's enemies are on notice. Our military will be great again, and America will never back down. Wow, that is pretty cool. Gosh, we're gonna miss him at Fox, but that's a gain for the country.
Oh, congratulations to the Fox and Friends weekend morning host, who's now our Secretary of Defense. He's a veteran. He's a veteran, everybody. I know, I'm a veteran too. I'm pretty sure I wasn't on any of Kamala's short lists for any cabinet position, but you know, wow. The world is on notice. The world. Oh my God, these pits. It's almost like, well, there's a word for it. It's called patronage, but it's almost as if they pluck these names out of a hat full of, you know, the names of weirdos and, savants. You know what I mean? It's so strange. This is such a strange cabinet. I've never seen anything quite like this in my entire, even looking around the world, I've never seen such a well, I guess Russia, but who pays attention to the Duma? All right. So let me just tell you what has happened this morning. This morning we had Joe Biden being more of a man than Donald Trump will ever be by hosting Donald Trump and telling him, I'm here as your beck and call girl. Don't take advantage to help your transition. I thought they were anti-transitions. I thought that was like a thing. I thought that was what those $100 million worth of TV commercials were about, is that they were anti-transition. So I guess maybe this is the last one. Is that what we can conclude? I don't know. But anyway, Biden hosted Donald Trump today, something Donald Trump would not do for Joe Biden when Joe Biden was the incoming and Trump was the outgoing, which was my favorite time. That was my favorite time in all of the history of the United States. That is my favorite moment, my favorite time, my favorite era, when we thought Donald Trump might become irrelevant after he attacked his own Capitol. Oh, God. Can't believe it. And now the Secretary of Defense is a Fox and Friends weekend host. Are you listening to me? Okay, good. So that happened. And then this morning, Donald Trump came back to the White House as a guest of, Joe Biden. It was brief. It was to the point. I don't know if did we pull? I think we did pull it. Let me see. Nope, I don't. It could be me, but I don't see it. Oh, it's nothing. Okay, the fireplace was roaring so loud you could hardly hear what the two men were saying, but it went a little something like this. Thank you very much for making this a very smooth transition. I really appreciate it. Politics sucks, but, this is a great day for me, just for me. Donald Trump said, and Joe's response was, you're welcome. That was it. Okay, and then after that, the Senate goes into the cloakroom, as boys do, and in secret, they cast their vote for their new Senate Majority Leader, the outgoing Mitch McConnell, who I blame for all of this, and you should too, especially people who are groping around for like Merrick Garland and, a name of somebody to pin this on, somebody, to say cause this caper to actually occur. So I would say Mitch McConnell, and here's why. The second impeachment of Donald Trump was because Donald Trump attacked his own Capitol and sat there at least while the Capitol was under attack and did nothing for 3 hours. Okay, so dereliction of duty, that kind of thing. And he got impeached for it, and Mitch McConnell would not organize the majority to remove him so that he could never run for president ever again. He just refused to do it. Now Mitch is leaving. He's outgoing. And incoming now, we will have Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's assistant. Majority Leader John Thune. John Thune was, Mitch McConnell's prodigy. He was his, his second in command. He was his right-hand man. He was all those things. So, they had three names that they had to choose from. One was Rick Scott, who I heard was so hated and so disliked. But here's what Rick Scott was promising in the way of loyalty to Donald Trump. Okay, so I just told you Pete Hegseth was picked to be Secretary of Defense, right? Okay. So that's a Senate-confirmed position, right? The president nominates his cabinet, he picks his cabinet, and then the Senate confirms that person to the cabinet position that the president would like to insert that person into. Well, I just cannot imagine. I can't imagine the Senate confirming Fox and Friends weekend morning host Pete Hegseth to be the Secretary of Defense. It's just it's bizarre. It's a dangerous world. And also, the Pentagon is not only the largest agency inside of the United States government, but it also is responsible for the well-being of 1.3 million active duty soldiers, airmen, Marines, and sailors. How in the world, Pete Hegseth, just so you know, he joined Fox and Friends when he was 34 years old. He's now 44 years old. He has no experience doing anything with regard to large organizations or management of large organizations or, personnel numbering the millions or, any. So, I mean, listen, he's obviously been picked because, it's a patronage pick, number one. And number two, Donald Trump really, really wants somebody who's going to be a yes man, who's going to, sit there while he issues illegal orders and say and do nothing, fire generals. There's also an executive order. Right now it's a draft. It's not done. But there's an executive order called the Warrior Board, swear to God, that actually will purge 3- and 4-star generals from the military. It will force them to retire. They will be told they need to go at their current rank, and they will get their current rank's pension. But they want to send a chill inside of the officer corps and also high-ranking enlisted people in the military that you do not speak out against illegal orders. You do not speak out against Donald Trump issuing illegal orders. You do not do any of these things ever again. There is nobody that has your back. Nobody is there to protect you. None of the seniors are there anymore. It's now all Pete Hegseth and, his merry band of white supremacists. Now, why do I say that about Pete Hegseth? Well, I don't know if you've ever seen Pete Hegseth without his shirt on. But he really has no problem parading around without his shirt on. I have several pictures of him. There is one of them. Now, you might say, wow, that's quite the tattoo. That's just one of many white supremacist symbols that adorn his freaking body. Okay? I got a story. Here, there's one that you really need to see because this one, do a vault. Okay, that one, that's completely Nazi. Okay, I just say that's like from the first Christian.
The Christian Army and the Crusades.
Crusades.
Yeah, from the Crusades,
it's like from the first Christian Crusades. Okay, and this is what's all over his body to the point where, okay, he was supposed to be on a detail that was supposed to protect President Joe Biden during the inaugural back in 2020. And he got a call from his senior command telling him to sit it out, stand down, go someplace else. You've been removed from this particular duty. Why? Because you have white supremacist stuff all over your body. And they don't want you there. He's now the Secretary of Defense. Okay, I just... How does he get confirmed? How does he get confirmed? Well, isn't that now a question for John Thune?
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, you're not going to. Oh my God. All right. Cabinet member, director of national intelligence, the DNI. The DNI sits on top of all of the other intelligence agencies, all of them, sits on top of the CIA, sits on top of the FBI's intelligence, sits on top of Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, the medic. The medic. She was a medic in the military. That's what her job was. I mean, I'm starting to feel jealous here, you know? I mean, I fixed airplanes. Why can't I be like the head of the FBI? I mean, it's a perfect fit, right? That's the qualification, isn't it? Holy crap. Holy crap. We're in so much trouble. I mean, the whole world is watching this. This isn't about how I feel about it. It's not about how you feel about it. It's not about any. This is about the whole world is watching. People like Kim Jong-un and, who's just joined forces with Putin. What could go wrong there? People in Ukraine, people in the West Bank, people in Gaza, people who were the underdogs, who had an American president who was on their side, are now being fed to the wolves. I mean, listen, do you know who he picked? Just to keep this, this thread of what he's doing in your head, okay? So you got a white Christian nationalist as the Secretary of Defense. You got Tulsi Gabbard sitting on top of all the intelligence agencies. You got Lee Zeldin, which I think is fun because when you read his name really quick, it looks like Led Zeppelin, at the EPA, okay, at the Environmental Protection Agency, which is just hysterical over here, okay? You got people with Celtic crosses emblazoned, tattooed on their bodies with, Nazi slogans and Crusader slogans and white nationalist symbols all over their body, being in charge of our awesome, awesome military, being in charge of our awesome, awesome intelligence department, okay? And then you see, and for me, this is so telling, okay? And then you see the person that was appointed or the person that was nominated to be the envoy to the Middle East. The envoy to the Middle East. His name won't mean jack to you. It didn't mean anything to me. I had to look him up. You know what his job is? You know what he does? Okay, he's a golf partner of Donald Trump's. He golfs with him at Magaloko all the time. He's a 67-year-old. Wait for it. Real estate developer. A real estate developer is going to be in charge of the Middle East. The Middle East. The place where Jared said, that's some prime beachfront property you got going on there. Why don't we just clean out Gaza? Just clean it out, level it, and start building. For those of you who withheld your vote or voted in Michigan, in Dearborn especially, for Jill Stein, who got 16% of the vote in Dearborn, Michigan. You know that? I mean, she only got 1%, like nationwide. And I think she only got 1% statewide in Michigan. But Dearborn, that had a very large Palestinian/Arab population, /Muslim. You voted for Jill Stein as a protest vote. Well, good luck to you. Good luck to you. You now have Mike Huckabee. Mike Huckabee is the ambassador to Israel who doesn't believe there is a place called Palestine. He doesn't believe there's such a thing as an occupation. He doesn't believe that you should call the West Bank anything but Samaria or Judea. Okay, he just doesn't believe in it. How's this going to work out for you, which is what I tried to tell you? It's a right-wing putsch, okay? That's what it is, and it always was. And, people who didn't vote because of that issue or people who voted, for a third party because of that, this is where it got you. And I hope you're really proud. I hope you're really proud because this is going to be a horror show, just a horror show. Ukraine is going to be a horror show. The West Bank's going to be annexed probably by the time we finish this week, okay, of shows. It will be gone. It will, there's no, and I always told you, Gaza and the West Bank are two different places. It's two different things. They're all emboldened now. The idea that there will be settlers in the West Bank who just, forget it. I just, Honestly, I don't know what in the world you were thinking. Sitting there just blaming Joe Biden of all people. Joe Biden, the only voice of sanity in the rooms where this was all gonna happen and was happening. Just wasn't fast enough for me. Just didn't go swift enough for me. There was just too much. Yes, it was too much. It was too much. But now, game over. Game over. What? Mike Huckabee thinks the only reason, and by the way, the people in Israel who think, we lucked out this time, let me just tell you that Mike Huckabee thinks Israel only exists as a platform for the apocalypse. That's it, for the end times. He thinks that all the Jews, and there's a lot of white Christian nationalists in this country that think this, all the Jews need to go back to Israel, and then we all need to be killed, and then Jesus will come back, and that is what Mike Huckabee thinks. It's what he believes. It's how he practices his religion. It's what he, I mean, honest to God, man, this whole world's going to be divvied up. And you won't like it. And I kept telling you won't like it. You won't like it. He is filling his cabinet with the lands of the broken toys. Oh, good God. And some people, okay, back to Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth has to get confirmed, okay? And this is why you might have heard some rumblings over the last couple of days about how Donald Trump doesn't want confirmation hearings, okay? He doesn't even want you to meet his cabinet. He doesn't even want you to, see them be questioned at all by anybody. He just wants them recess appointed, and that's good enough for, us. We don't get to know any more about them. We don't get, that's it. And Rick Scott, who didn't make it to the leadership position today, thank God, because he's the biggest Medicare fraudster there ever was. Rick Scott was the CEO of HCA, big hospital chain. Maybe you have it where you are, maybe you don't, but we have it here in Florida, okay? And that's why he's our senator from Florida, because he got away with the largest Medicare fraud. His hospitals were putting bills into Medicare for tests that were never done. The whole Medicare ruse, the whole Medicare grift, right? And he literally ripped off Medicare for billions of dollars. And Donald Trump wanted him to be the majority leader in the Senate, while Elon Musk is supposedly the efficiencies are. So, and okay, so you had a guy who cost the government of the United States billions of erroneous billing dollars to be the head of the Senate, while Elon is looking for efficiencies in government to slash $2 trillion out of the budget. Well, I got news for you. Here, we have an agency in the United States government that looks for efficiencies, that looks for overcharges, that actually finds people like Rick Scott bilking and milking the Medicare Trust Fund as a grift. It's called the General Accountability Office, the GAO. Don't you find it redundant that we have an efficiency expert, Elon Musk, and Vivek Ramaswamy, when we already have a GAO?
Clear. 4, 2. Connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Oh, this is hysterical. This is Adam Smith. He is the ranking member of the Armed Services Committee. And he's like, who is Pete Hegseth? Who is he?
Confess, I did not know who Pete Hegseth was until about 20 minutes ago. He does not seem to have much of a detailed background in DoD policy. To the extent he's worked on any of that stuff, it has been on veterans policy, not on DoD issues. So it's the lack of experience is concerning. Now, I have not heard what his plans are, so we will see what his plans are. But it was surprising, and it is concerning, just given that lack of experience. The Pentagon, biggest bureaucracy in the world. It's a hard thing to run. So I think it's going to be a challenge.
He's so cordial about this, this clown car of people. He's that's Adam Smith. He is the ranking member on the Armed Services Committee. He's like, never heard of him until like 20 minutes ago. Who is he? What does he do? Oh my God, this is one of the largest bureaucracies in the history of the universe. Okay, the Pentagon is, and Adam didn't even get to the part where he's going to be in charge of 1.3 million active duty soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. I mean, this just takes your breath away because, we love our service. The military it's the best. Then don't put them in the hands of a Fox News morning host. Do you know what I'm saying? Like how, and Tulsi Gabbard, listen, now you know why she was pushing Vlad's biolabs conspiracy theory, that there were biolabs in Ukraine and Vlad had to go in there and beat back the Nazis, the Ukrainian Nazis. And for that, she gets the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence. How is that possible? How is that possible? She is a surfer from Hawaii who served, and they're all reservists. Every single one of these people we're talking about, they're not active military. They're not like lifers. They're not 30-year, these are people that serve in the National Guard. Now, wasn't it just Tim Walz that you were saying his service wasn't the good service because he was in the National Guard and not in the I just, wow. And she was a medic. That's what she was, a medic. I'm not saying it's not, good service. Of course it's good service. But the Director of National Intelligence for the United States of America? And guess what? Guess where it was announced? Guess. Oh, you won't even believe. You couldn't even. You couldn't. I couldn't. I had to know. And I'm asking you to guess. Because I couldn't. Alex Jones. Alex Jones was hosting Roger Stone today on what will be his last show on the InfoWars channel because his equipment is all being auctioned off at a federal auction today to pay the people who he has defamed for 20 years. Well, it's not quite 20. It's, 2012 till now. The Sandy Hook parents. And he won't pay them. So his stuff is all being auctioned off today for the benefit of the Sandy Hook parents. And so on his last show today, he spent it with Roger Stone, who's also a tattooed freak of nature. And Roger Stone told Alex Jones before any of us knew that Donald Trump was going to pick Tulsi Gabbard to be the Director of National Intelligence that sits on top of all the intelligence agencies. I mean, it's just it's just so. And we have this nondescript, a congressman, Mike Walz. He's going to be the national security advisor to Donald Trump, but that doesn't have to be Senate confirmed. National security advisor. Last time we had, what's his face? The QAnon general. God, I loved that these people were becoming irrelevant to me. But no longer. Now they're all back. They're all back. Holy crap. Oh, God. All right. Kathy in New Mexico.
Oh, gosh, it gets more and more depressing. I've been staying away from the news media for a while, but oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God.
Glad you're there to say everything. But Matt Gaetz is Attorney General. I mean, I don't even know. It's so unbelievable. And Tulsi Gabbard, when are they going to bring, who's Steve Bannon? What is the position going to be? Or, as you said, Roger Stone.
Yeah, I don't,
it makes me sick.
Steve Bannon was out in front of the courthouse yesterday because he has to go back to court. I don't know if you know, he's just freshly out of jail, right?
Yeah.
And he has to go back to court for the We Build the Wall fraud, where he stole $1 million from individuals who were, yeah. And so he was in front of the courthouse yesterday ranting about how you may have thought that we were the hunted, but we've become the hunters. Just you wait. You're all going to see. You're all going to feel the wrath. I'm like, oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh, I know.
Oh, I want to flee so bad. I want to leave skid marks until it's over.
I don't blame you. Oh, gosh, I have a headache now. But I think the Democrats do no good by going after each other. It's a firing squad. I just think there's nothing that could have been done. I think when they run away from their ideals, they've done a lot, and they try to run away from Biden. He's done an amazing job.
He has.
That makes him look weak a little bit. I think they need to stand up more. And I just think with all the disinformation, and there's not enough of people like you out there, I just think nothing could. And then also sexism, racism.
Oh, the hatred. I mean, hatred's is very hard to beat. It's
exactly.
It's like the chef's kiss of the underclass. They just love to hate. They just
exactly.
Yeah, it's a
and that won.
It's
depressing.
It's the comfort zone for them, and they voted for it. They
yeah. But thank you for the information on Pete. I had no idea. Oh my gosh, it's worse.
Oh God.
No, but his tattoos, I never knew that. I've never seen him without a shirt.
I didn't either. I you know what? Yeah. Okay. So here's how it happened. I mean, I was like, Pete Hegseth. Holy crap! So of course, I got to go get the backgrounds on him, and I Google search him and find out, like what his service was and where, because I knew he was a vet. But honest to God, so am I.
But what do you think about the confirmation? Are they going to have to? I heard there was rumor they might do away with that. Do you think that will actually happen?
Well, so this is what Trump has been saying. He said he wants recess appointments, right? And this is what I started telling you. Rick Scott had promised in a loyalty oath to Donald Trump, the senator from Florida, that if he had the votes to become the majority leader, he would actually say no confirmation hearings. He would adjourn the Senate so that it was, out of what do you call it? And they would go into recess, right?
So Thune won't do that, you don't think?
I don't know. Thune said he would consider it.
Okay.
But,
well, that's not any better. But I guess it's better.
It isn't.
Not much, but
no. Right.
Okay. Well, thank you again for everything.
You're welcome, Kathy.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Yeah. No, it's not. It's not. A no. We need to have confirmation hearings. But it's sort of kind of hard to imagine that John Thune, who just became the leader of this awesome body, the Senate, that has only a very few jobs, one of them is to appoint and confirm, not to appoint, but to confirm judges, which, by the way, the Democrats are doing today. They're trying to do 40 of them today before they lose the majority. But you would think they would want to have confirmation hearings, right? As the new leaders, but I don't think they do.
It's the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Oh, my God. Oh, I have news. What? I thought she was kidding. No, she's not kidding. Donald Trump has picked Matt Gaetz to be the Attorney General of the United States. Oh my God. Oh my God. Just when you thought that a Fox and Friends news host as Secretary of Defense was the most offensive, then we got Tulsi Gabbard, who, by the way, I found Tulsi Gabbard saying that there are biolabs in Ukraine on Fox News. I found it here.
Here are the undeniable facts. There are 25 to 30 U.S.-funded biolabs in Ukraine. According to the U.S. government, these biolabs are conducting research on dangerous pathogens. Ukraine is in an active war zone with widespread bombing, artillery, and shelling, and these facilities, even in the best of circumstances, could easily be compromised and release these deadly pathogens. Now, like COVID, these pathogens know no borders. If they are inadvertently or purposely breached or compromised, they will quickly spread all throughout Europe, the United States, and the rest of the world, causing untold suffering and death. So in order to protect the American people, the people of Europe, the people around the world, these labs need to be shut down immediately, and the pathogens that they hold need to be destroyed. Instead of trying to cover this up, the Biden-Harris administration needs to work with Russia, Ukraine, NATO, the UN to immediately implement a ceasefire for all military action in the vicinity of these labs until they're secured and these pathogens are destroyed. Now, in addition to all this, the U.S. funds around 300 biolabs around the world who are engaging in dangerous research, including gain of function, similar to the lab in Wuhan, where COVID-19 may have originated from. Now, after realizing how dangerous and vulnerable these labs are, they should have all been shut down 2 years ago.
Okay, so she was a medic. She was a medic in the National Guard, and somehow she knows everything. Well, now she's the DNI. There is no bottom here. There's absolutely no bottom here. This man is literally going to burn it all down. The idea that Matt Gaetz would be the Attorney General of the United States. I mean, what, Venmo stock is going to go through the ceiling now, too? Listen, the idea that they're making money on this, they were asking today on the morning shows, who's going to conduct all these raids? Because, we're now back to talking about domestic issues. And here in the United States, Donald Trump has said that we're going to have, a day, the most violent day, one really rough day. Remember when we were telling you he's watching that movie, The Purge, and it stuck with him, and now he's got it in his head that we need to have like a day where you get to kill things, or a day where you get to capture people, a day where you get to imprison people, where you get to round them all up and just kill them, right? Well, that day is coming. I mean, listen, the idea that he said it. I don't know where that one ended up, but that day is coming. And so you have to understand that we were talking about, like, where are they going to build the camps? Where are they going to build the camps, right? You know where they're going to build the camps? They're not. They're going to use private prisons. Private prisons. For-profit prisons. Like Core Civic and Boca Raton's very own Geo Corporation that is hanging out at Magaloco saying, hey, we're famous for being able to build tent cities and, house prisoners. It's what we do. Check their stock prices today. Core Civic and Geo Corporation, private prisons, their stocks have gone up 61 and 69%. 61 and 69%. Okay? Elon Musk, the guy, he's on Twitter with this cartoonish sort of drawing of him looking like a gang member. Okay, this is how he wants to be seen now, with a gold chain around his neck and all this stuff, calling his Department of Government Efficiency Doge, which is the name of his coin, his crypto. And he's talked Donald Trump into understanding crypto enough to know crypto is a great grift, and you need never regulate it. Like, we will all be Sam Bankman-Fried, okay? Everybody is there for the pickings. We're all marks now. And when Elon was on the stage talking about how he was going to be in charge of the Department of Government Efficiency, and he was mocking it was called Doge. All of a sudden, the value of Doge went up 20%. You see what this is? It's all a grift. The whole thing is for sale. And now he's on stages jumping around like a freak of nature, saying, let's cut $2 trillion. There isn't $2 trillion in discretionary spending. No, you'd have to get into mandatory. And mandatory is Social Security. Mandatory is Medicare. Mandatory is Medicaid. It's the military. Those are mandatory spends. The discretionary stuff would all have to be wiped out, and then you'd still have to dip into the mandatory.
I'm not just MAGA. I'm dark, gothic MAGA. Well, the energy in this room is incredible. What a great group of people.
All right, I've only got one question for you, and then I'm getting out of here because this is your stage.
Oh, my God.
But we set up Doge.
Yes.
How much do you think we can rip out of this wasted $6.5 trillion Harris-Biden budget?
Well, I think we can do at least $2 trillion.
Yeah!
Yes.
$2 trillion.
I mean, at the end of the day,
oh my God,
you're being taxed. You're being taxed all government spending is taxation.
No.
So whether it's direct taxation or all government spending, it either becomes inflation or it's direct taxation. Your money is being wasted, and the Department of Government Efficiency is going to fix that. We're going to get the government off your back and out of your pocketbook. And America's just not just going to be great. America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing.
Okay, Psycho. Leave the stage. Go.
Now, you guys are awesome. Honestly, this is like...
Oh, my God.
I feel like we just watched Elon feel a human emotion for the first time and trying to deal with it and soaking it all in.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Rollerball. Jonathan E. It really does. I mean, they are talking about turning us into Somalia. I hope you understand that, with a military that is now empowered by Hegseth, okay? A national security apparatus that is just, there to receive marching orders from Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un and Viktor Orban of Hungary, okay? An immunized police force that can do whatever it wants with you, to whoever, whenever, wherever, that can now send people to private prisons who will profit off of all of it. While places that were underdogs, that were trying to stand up for democracy, places that were trying desperately to exist in Europe, like Ukraine, are now going to be decimated, bloodbathed, conquered, invaded, even worse. I mean, this is the most sickening thing I've ever seen. And the reason why he keeps on picking these clowns and releasing their names one after the other is to make you tune out. You understand? It's to exhaust you. It's always been that. It's always been exhaustion. It's always been overwhelmed. It's always been attack, right? Putting Matt Gaetz in as the Attorney General of the United States. Yes, law and order will be the cause of the day in these beautiful, fields of amber.
Donate.
Mary had a little man. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
The incoming Trump administration is talking with private prison companies about increasing the amount of immigration detention centers and buildings near them, major U.S. cities. Two sources familiar with the plan told NBC News. The centers would be used to hold immigrants before they are deported as part of Trump's promised mass deportation plan. The goal is to purportedly double the current number of ICE's 41,000 detention beds. Sources say the plan would also include the restarting of the policy of detaining parents with their children, known as family detention, a policy that the Biden administration stopped in 2021.
What they're looking at now are new locations to expand capacity. They want to get to over 80,000 beds to be able to hold that many immigrants at a time after they're arrested before they're deported. So they're talking to these private prison companies like Geo Group, LaSalle, CoreCivic, places that companies that have had big soars in their stock market prices because of this noted expansion. And these are companies that can get facilities running very quickly. They're looking at major metropolitan areas. One of my sources said that they're looking at areas around the metropolitan areas of Miami, Los Angeles, Chicago, in the 95 corridor between Philadelphia, New York, and D.C. These are areas where they need to expand detention, because this isn't just for migrants who have recently crossed the border. It's to hold people who have just been arrested. And that also means holding families. This is something we expected the Trump administration to bring back. Now we understand they're making plans for it. These are detention centers that are actually much more expensive to operate because of court orders that dictate how you treat children in detention, rightfully so. Those are more expensive. It's something the Biden administration said this isn't necessary and isn't in keeping with our moral philosophy about immigration, so they ended it.
Okay, and, the question, who will carry it out?
Who's actually carrying out these raids? What agency, which department, which staffers, which force are going to actually be pulling these people potentially from their homes?
Well, it would be led by ICE, but Trump has said that he would try to use the military as well if he can get to that legally, and also to call on local police departments, even though a lot of them already say their resources are stretched thin. But yes, these are people oftentimes who have been living in the country for a long time. They said they will prioritize criminals, but as we see when they're trying to expand family detention, no one is off the table here. And in fact, I spoke to former DHS Secretary Chad Wolf, who has stayed ingrained with this group, with the incoming Trump administration over the past 4 years. And he said, look, there should be no exemptions, because if you exempt one group, more of those people will come. When you talk about protests, the fact that they're looking at these major metropolitan areas, if you think about building a new place to hold migrants outside Denver, LA, Chicago, they could be garnering protests for that. Right now, I understand they're looking at existing structures, trying to see how many beds they might have available in, say, a county jail or an existing ICE detention centers, but they could also have to build up temporary soft-sided facilities to try to increase capacity very quickly. That could look like tents. That's something else that draws a spectacle, could draw protest. I think what's clear as they start to hammer out some of these details is they're not shying away from the visuals. In fact, I think that's what they want. They want to show a really big impact on day one. It's something Stephen Miller has said that they've been given a mandate to do. He wants to see 1 million immigrants arrested and deported each year.
Oh, my God. Families. We're not talking about criminals. They will emphasize that, there were some people who were bad people. There would be some people who, obviously, I guess he's going to have to empty the prisons in order to find those people. But we're talking about workplace raids. We're talking about going to people's homes. We're talking about taking their children to. We're talking about putting people in soft-sided detention. The tent city, okay? This is so sick. And of course, people who, and they're going to put them in metropolitan areas. Those are the details from that, right? From, if people in Denver, if people in New York City, if people in L.A., which is where they're talking about, Philly, Washington, okay? If people in those blue cities start to see families being detained, and they want it on television, they want it filmed, they want everybody to show every family in agony, every child screaming and crying, every child, hugging their parent's leg, every family being ripped out of their homes. They want it all on the TV. They want every last bit of it. They think that's a deterrent, okay? And that's why they want it, everybody to see painful, ugly, horrendous video of people who have been doing nothing but working in this country, paying taxes in this country, raising their children in this country, to love this country and to contribute to this country. They want you to see them suffering. And when you find out that they're looking at 1 million people, you must know that there aren't 1 million criminals in this country running free. There just aren't. And so they are talking about families, and they are talking about children, and they are talking about people who have been here 20 years, 15 years, people who, are your neighbors. People, there are people that I talk to, regularly, and I don't know their status. I don't know if they're green card holders or if they're citizens at this point. I don't know if they were born here. I don't know if their parents were born here. And that's another thing. Birthright citizenship is going to, be challenged at the highest courts in the land. And that's kind of why Matt Gaetz is there. What they're going to ask the Supreme Court to say is that being born here isn't enough. You must have been born here to citizen parents. That then, excludes another 11 million humans in this country from being considered American. Oh, God. And all of this for, just for the value of the chaos, for the value of the ugliness, for the fear factor, for the profit motive, and all of it. It's going to be a full tilt boogie, meaning away from democracy and away from fairness and away from freedom to forced incarceration and immunized police forces and immunized, sheriffs. And no place to take your grievance, no place to go. No place to go to court, no place to have a case, no place to, have your grievances addressed. None. I mean, if they're putting Matt Gaetz in as the attorney general, Matt Gaetz has a live case, about, young underage girls. And how do they all find each other? All the pedos, man. All of them.
I was thinking about how the appointment of Matt Gaetz to AG, pedophiles across this country have got to be thinking that's our guy. That's our guy.
Well, Donald Trump's our guy, too. Donald Trump, goes into the Miss Teen America thing and says, and I look at him naked and flirts with his own freaking daughter and lets Howard Stern call her a piece of ass. I mean, what? What do you think? That's like normal father-daughter behavior? That's a normal conversation that any other Howard Stern guest ever had on that air about their daughter? No one has ever said that crap about their own. And then one time I think he was on The View, and was it The View or Oprah? It was one of the talk shows, and the question was, what do you two have in common? And Ivanka said, well, I would say golf. And Donald Trump said, I would say sex. How do they all find each other? And Jeffrey Epstein, and there's 8,000 pictures. Oh, God, what if they pardon... No, they'd never pardon her. Jeffrey Epstein's,
Ghislaine
Ghislaine Maxwell. Yes, I know how to say her name properly. I just refuse because she's a freaking pedophile. No, they would never, would they? I mean, maybe they would.
Clear. All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Okay, this is Michael Wolff. He has Epstein tapes, okay? And he played them on a Daily Beast podcast just a few days ago, really, right before the election. This is circa 2017, Jeffrey Epstein talking about Donald Trump.
I think we have a snippet from one of the conversations that I recorded with Epstein, and I think this was in a restaurant in 2017.
His people fight each other.
Right.
And then have outsiders. He sort of poisons the well outside. He will tell 10 people Bannon's a scumbag, and Priest is not doing a good job, and Kelly has a big mouth. And what do you think? Jamie Dimon says that you're a problem, and I shouldn't keep you. And I spoke to Carl Icahn, and Carl thinks I need a new spokesperson. So Kelly, even though I hired Kellyanne's husband, Kellyanne is just too much of a wild card. And then he tells Bannon, I really want to keep you, but Kellyanne hates you.
I have more than dozens. I probably have 100 hours of Epstein talking about the inner workings of the Trump White House and about his long-standing, deep relationship with Donald Trump.
This is the president of the United States of America we're talking about now. This is a person who people literally, would die for. Really, they're because he's given them an alternative universe in which to toil, and that's all they ever wanted was an alternative universe, some place that wasn't here, some place that wasn't America, some place that wasn't, where Donald Trump was their daddy, and they're calling him daddy. It's just so twisted, the whole freaking thing. But I just want everybody to understand, like, if you ever said, it can't happen here, it's happening here. I just want you to know that. You all asked me years and years and years ago, would I tell you if it ever started happening here? And I said I would. It's happening here. It's on. Game on. I don't know, how it's going to go for you. I don't know how it's going to go for me. I don't know how it's going to go for people that are journalists at the New York Times. I don't know how it's going to go for ABC, NBC, CBS, or any of them. My best guess, though, is that he will make an example of one of the real big ones, one of the huge ones, and yank their license to send a chill to warn other networks how easily it could be all just lost. How easily the Securities and Exchange Commission can delist you, or how easy it would be for the FCC to yank your license, or how easy it would be for the Federal Trade Commission to, prohibit you from doing business, whatever. I mean, he's got all the awesome agencies of the United States government focused on, like a laser, every single entity, every single bank, every single person that he considers a personal enemy. That's it. That's where we are. And the full force of the United States government is about to come down on people he doesn't like. The rest of you will go broke because he's about to rob us blind. The rest of you will literally lose whatever little thing you had, that came in a check, or any little thing you had that came in a government job, or whatever. But the people that he considers to be problematic for him, or say bad things about him on the TV or whatever, they're done. They're done. End of the road, end of the line. Ron in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Randy.
Yep.
King Trump is not in power yet. King Biden is. King Biden needs to declassify the information that Trump stole, whatever he can. That 10-inch binder with Russian interference that he stole at the end of his term, Biden can declassify that and let us know it was too.
Why? I mean, it's like not enough that we know what we know. That we had 37.
No.
That Mueller had 37 indictments and 7 guilty pleas.
I know.
And
he didn't declassify. They didn't release that yet. The Department of Justice.
Who cares? Nobody cares. That's the thing.
Oh,
I mean,
know.
Who cares?
I guess you're right.
Right.
I guess you're right there, buddy.
Everybody knows who he is. Everybody knows what he does.
He's making it clear that.
I think the scariest thing about anything that he has said, or anything that he promised to his people, or anything that he said on a stage or in an interview, was that he wanted to give blanket immunity to the local police. That he wants to give blanket immunity to cops and to city cops, to sheriffs. Right. But that's
and I think he's making it clear with this Matt Gaetz pick and Tulsi Gabbard pick that he's going to go after Liz Cheney and all his enemies.
Damn right. Right. So, I mean, obviously, the idea that we didn't know who he was, take that off the table. They still voted.
Yeah, I know. I knew who he was.
So
I'm just
declassifying anything isn't going to make any difference to anybody at all.
Maybe not.
No.
I'm thinking we should send like 3 million people to Washington the day he's supposed to take office and physically prevent him from doing it.
Well, I'm not there, and I don't advocate violence of any sort, especially.
I know it ain't violence. It ain't violence.
What is it?
Until he lands well, it would be after he lands the helicopter. They would have to helicopter him in.
Sorry. He caught himself saying something really bad. Don't say that on my air, okay? Don't ever say that on my air. I don't condone it. I don't like it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be part of it. I never did. I never will. Violence is never the answer. Period. End of story.
I see what you think. But
I know
I'm
what he
connecting
was.
the dots.
I know what he was driving at. And that is not the way to go about anything. Okay, it just isn't. We're in deep crap. Okay, and we need people to actually form a resistance. Like, Randi Rhodes was very smart. Randi Rhodes understood that we all had to form communities where we are. Communities of people we trust, communities of stores we feel confident going into, communities of friends, people that we interact with, people that we talk to in our living rooms. We have to start organizing ourselves into, pods, whatever you want to call it, communities, because the entire government is about to become an enemy of people. It's about to become East Berlin. The police are about to become the Stasi. Anybody? Neighbors are going to be promised better rations if they turn their neighbors in. Do you know what I'm saying? That's where we are. We're right on the cusp of that. Now, I don't know that there's a modern version of that will smell better or look better or seem more acceptable. But the talking heads, look, there's a common denominator with all these people. Hegseth, Gaetz, Tulsi, they're all telegenic. They all defend Donald Trump on TV. Now he's going to try and sell you on the corporate cosmology.
44 561 270 3844.
All right, this was Steve Bannon. That's his threat. All right, and here's Trump.
Now, if you had one really violent day, like a guy like Mike Kelly, put him in charge, Congressman Kelly, put him in charge for one day. Mike, would you say, he's right here, he's a great congressman. Would you say, Mike, that if you were in charge, you would say, oh, please, don't touch them, let them rob your store. All these stores go out of business, right? They don't pay rent, the city doesn't have money. It's a chain of events that's so bad. One rough hour, and I mean real rough, the word will get out and it will end immediately.
Now, he includes protesters in that one rough day. You understand that, right? You understand that he's not just talking about shoplifters who he wants to kill and shoot. And, he's been saying that for years, just shoot them. He's not just talking about, people who, pilfer or steal. He's talking about protesters. And we know this because when he was president, he wanted to shoot protesters in Lafayette Square Park. And only because the only reason why he wanted to shoot them was because they were for Black Lives Matter. And he just found them inconvenient.
Now, if you had one really violent...
I'm sorry, this is it.
Hours after President Trump threatened a military crackdown on what he calls the riots and lawlessness triggered by the death of George Floyd. Earlier Monday, protesters facing off against authorities, kneeling and raising their hands in a peaceful demonstration across from the White House. Then, police using tear gas and flash grenades to disperse the crowd. The White House saying this morning the protesters were given a 3-minute warning and the perimeter was expanded to enforce the 7 p.m. curfew. But ABC News cameras capturing the first flash grenade was at 6:38, 22 minutes before the curfew. In the Rose Garden minutes later, the president threatened to use the country's military might to end the riots across the country if states' governors don't take action.
I am your president of law and order and an ally of all peaceful protesters. As we speak, I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop the rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property.
To dispatch active duty military, the president would have to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807, a rarely used law that hasn't been enacted since the Rodney King riots in the 90s. Senator Tim Scott, the only African-American Republican in the Senate, praising President Trump for vowing to take immediate action.
We need to hear more like that from the president because, frankly, the country rallies around our chief executive when he speaks about bringing the American family together.
After the Rose Garden speech, the president walking across the street to visit a historic church vandalized during the unrest. Then holding a Bible, standing in various poses for a full minute and a half.
Is that your Bible?
It's a Bible.
In a joint.
It's a Bible. It's a Bible. People were kneeling. People were, peacefully protesting in Lafayette Square Park. I've been in Lafayette Square Park protesting everything from the Iraq War to the torture. Oh, by the way, this is how long it takes to right wrongs in this country with a decent, somewhat decent DOJ, with a somewhat, a responsive justice system in the United States, which is about to be dismantled piece by piece. It's going to be destroyed. I don't know how long it's going to take to rebuild it or to put it back together again. It's like Humpty Dumpty. It may never. I don't know, but Matt Gaetz is there to, do that. Anyway, the torture that went on in Abu Ghraib prison, some of you remember that I was sued for saying that was happening. When Don Rumsfeld, the poetry of D.H. Rumsfeld, who's Secretary of Defense, was leaving orders for contractors to go ahead and torture people in Iraqi prisons, which led to ISIS, which was very knowable, foreseeable. And I was, screaming about it because it was never going to end well. And the photos came out. Remember that? The photos. And the prisoners there, they were naked. They had rapist written on their legs, their naked legs, and it was misspelled, which was really indicative of, the state of, low-ranking reservists who are now all in the government, right? I mean, the Secretary of Defense is a reservist. Tulsi Gabbard is a reservist. They're all guardsmen. They're all reservists. Anyway, the low-ranking reservists in Abu Ghraib, they're the ones that took the fall for the contractors, affecting all of this torture. They were taking naked people and piling them up in pyramids, sicking dogs on them. The general, Janice Karpinski, who was in charge of Abu Ghraib, who was told, you can leave now, you can go. She actually was, doing my show fairly regularly because she understood what the end game was going to look like as well. And it was ISIS. Okay. Anyway, I got sued. I won. No problem. They appealed it. I won that too. The people who were actually tortured, the actual individuals, the ones that you saw, the electrodes, they had hoods on their head and electrodes on their genitalia. I don't know how else to say it. They sued. They sued. It took this long, 20 years, okay? 20 freaking years. And they finally won yesterday. They finally won. And they will be recompensed, but only in dollars. The torture that will always be with them for the rest of their natural born days. And they were not terrorists. They were just individuals in Iraq. Their torture created terrorists, but they were not. 20 years later. So can you imagine now when they break the whole system, when they break everything? I mean, the Supreme Court is, bought and paid for. Now the DOJ, that gets.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
All right, Zach in Miami.
Hey, Randy, how you doing?
All right.
All right, just want to say thank you for your service and everything you do. Just real quick, because I know we ain't got time. There was this movie in 2012 in which John Lithgow, he said the campaign, he said about American politics, when you have the money, nothing is unpredictable. There was no way in the world the Democratic Party was going to outspend hate. They just weren't going to do it. Hate, fear, and greed is what won Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm. And resentment.
Yeah, and resentment. That's what it is. And then for him to add in the Kruger and Cowboy, I mean, you inject the world's richest man, and that brings me to another point is, How is it he drains the swamp by putting the largest alligator in the world in it?
This
You
is
know what I'm saying?
Zach, this is the swampiest cabinet you have ever seen or will ever see. This is the rise of the robber barons, but this time with violence. With violence.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the idea that this is pure patronage, that these right. How is this? How are the people who voted for him, like not screaming, "Oh my God, I made a mistake"? How are they? Yeah. How are they not like
Oh, they're going to find out real quick because
told
Putin's
you.
puppet has done it. I mean, Putin, he's won the Cold War without firing a shot because I tell you, he sent a 250-pound drone into democracy in this country, and it's done. I'm going to start learning how to write in Cyrillic and learn Russian. I mean, because I don't know how it is up there in West Palm, but here in Miami, I'm not joking you. Out of 10 people, if they're Caucasian, 4 or 5 of them are Russian or Eastern European.
Yeah, they all live in Doral and Howland.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
And they all drive the
Do you know why?
The Bentleys. Yeah.
Right. You know why they're here? Because of birthright citizenship. They're here because they want their babies to be born here.
Yeah.
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 I know.
That's right. And exactly the thing that he's saying now, he's trying to get rid of the brown, people that have kids, but they get to stay.
Well, that's the distraction now, isn't it? The brown people.
Yeah.
Always the distraction. Look over there at the brown people when the
but they're not rounding all these Russians up.
Yeah,
they're not rounding these Russians up now.
Hey, man, that's why it's the Caucasus, okay? It's a Russian mountain range, the Caucasus. Right. These are Caucasians.
That's right. That's right. They can assimilate and nobody knows who they are.
I'm one of them. So, I kind of know.
Yeah, but thanks again for everything you do.
Thanks, Zach. Michelle in New Mexico.
Hi, Randy.
Hi.
I'm the one that called a couple weeks ago and said I feared for women being still haunted by the ghost of Tammy Wynette.
Oh, right.
And Randy, here's what I want to say. We need you more than ever now. But Randy, please have your passport up to date and your papers in order.
It is.
So that you and Howard can get the heck out of Dodge at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
And take your screener with you so that he'll be safe too.
I tried to talk Brett into, leaving and setting it up someplace else, but his girlfriend doesn't want to go. I mean, I've had this conversation with him. I've had it with Sean. I've had it, there's only like 3 of us. Okay. And their wives, it's their wives.
For me, and I would be open,
they don't want to go.
It's the parenting legalities because my 2 stepdaughters have a father here in Florida. She can't take them to Canada, unfortunately.
Well, take him too.
I will not.
Oh yeah.
I will not. I refuse.
Well, I'm sorry, but take him too because this is not a pleasure cruise we're on. You understand? This is fight or flee. This is it. This is fight or flight. That's where we are.
Randy?
Yeah.
I just know that I love you, and I want to thank you for everything that you've done.
Thanks.
And that you will continue to do. And, Randy, you know that there are those of us out here that if you need anything, we'll be there.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
You take care.
You too. Yeah, no, I mean, we were talking, I'm sitting there, I'm looking around at everything going, wonder how many crates I would need, and I wonder how much space I would need on a container ship. Yeah, because that's how you do it. You buy the space on the container ship to bring your stuff, right? And then set it up someplace else. But they won't go with me. They won't.
Do you think Canada would be open to annexing California?
Canada is one of the most difficult places to relocate to, okay? The only thing we would have going for us is, and I've already got the paperwork, okay? The only thing we have going for us, if Canada is the destination, is that we would be bringing a business with us. And in the case of American jurisprudence and the DOJ going to, sycophants and the military and the immunization of police officers, we might be able to claim asylum. I swear to God, that's where we're at. Swear to God, that's where we're at. But without, bringing a business, without, and just being, just somebody that wants to get in line. Get in line, because I can't tell you how many Americans are eyeballing Canada and how many Americans are actually making the move. People are getting up and they're going. And, that's why I need to show you like this clown car that's pulling up at the White House. This clown car that is taking our government from we the people and giving it to Trump loyalists, to Trump sycophants, to violent pedophiles, to people that hire girls on Venmo. You know what Hegseth's marital status is? I mean, you know what Elon's is, right? Elon, three baby mamas, 11 kids, a lot of them through IVF. That's why there's so many. Donald Trump, 5 kids through 3 baby mamas. Hegseth is married 3 times, okay? The second wife he cheated on with somebody at work at Fox. He was cheating on, his wife, who he had children with a Fox News producer while he was still married. She divorced him, and now he's married to the third wife, who also has kids by him. These people all find each other. And the nerve that they're going to tell you about family values and how they love the military. They call them suckers and losers, okay? He is going to militarize the police, and he's going to turn the military into a loser and a suckers, like frontline thing. Okay, that like the immigrants maybe will be put out on the front lines. I mean, it's not going to be American. It's not going to be normal. It's not democratic. We the people. I don't see that it matters anymore. I don't see. And I'm just so livid because, we kept on playing him saying, we'll just, give him immunity to the police and we'll let them do what they got to do.
With your vote, we will achieve complete and total victory over these sadistic monsters. It's going to go very quickly.
Oh, my God.
Remember our local police? They're great. I know them so well. They've been restricted from operating. They're great. They know everything about every one of them. They say, oh, how will you ever find them? The local police know everyone. They know their middle names. They know their serial numbers, where they live.
Oh, my God.
No, and they want to do their job. They're done. You have no idea how many police officers say, sir, we're going to indemnify them against any prosecutions because they get prosecuted if they do their work.
I mean, he's literally standing there telling people in Aurora, Colorado, no less, that he's going to give immunity to police officers to do whatever. He's going to open up private prison beds for whoever gets caught up in these dragnets, right? For children, women, husbands. And I believe at the beginning, when it first begins on day one, there will be some criminals and people will start cheering for it again. They can be sold an immunized police force. They can be sold no justice system in the world. I mean, here we were, like literally spitting out our spleens and fighting so hard to move the arc, to bend the arc of justice toward the right side of things, towards decency, towards justice for all. Forget it. There is no justice. This isn't a just place anymore. This is a place where Donald Trump is, the arbiter. He's the judge, jury, and executioner. And he's hiring his loyalist sycophants to execute on illegal things that we never thought we would see here, but we're about to. Josh in Wisconsin.
Hey, Randy. I'm a small business owner who likes to listen to both sides. I became a member of the 1% during the Joe Biden terrible administration when the economy was so awful.
Congratulations.
Now I'm right. Yeah. So I'm going to my financial advisor tomorrow, and I have no idea what the hell to tell her because I'm worried that I'm going to lose my house if I protest. I'm worried about like civil seizure. They're going to take, everything that I've earned over my lifetime. And I don't know where to put it. I don't know if they can do that. I mean, there's no justice, there's no law anymore, so they can do whatever they want. I'm mad as hell, but I'm just going to have to take it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny that you said that. I have a call scheduled as well for the same reasons, the same exact reasons. I mean, listen, the idea that they could, arrest protesters now and throw away the key and like, where are you going to go? Who are you going to complain to? And then they say, oh, Josh has a nice house. Josh has a business. Josh has, some company trucks. Let's take them.
Right. You want to buy a marketing agency?
Yeah, actually.
Well,
yes.
Good luck, Randy.
Send me an email at info@randirhodes.com. I'd be happy to.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's throw in together. Maybe we can move you to some friendly country where property ownership for Americans is easy.